The Nexus breach, a chronicle of power. Logline, three individuals, forged in disparate worlds and burdened by unique powers, clash in a struggle that threatens not just their lives, but the very fabric of reality itself, forcing them to confront the true cost of limitless power and the echoes of their pasts. Part 1. The Genesis of Power. Williams, the architect of what is African American. Williams grew up in a vibrant, bustling South Side Chicago neighborhood, a place brimming with life but also shadowed by systemic inequities. He was a brilliant, inquisitive child, often lost in thought, sketching complex schematics far beyond his years. His powers awakened during a particularly violent gang turf war that erupted near his home. A stray bullet, meant for his younger sister, seemed to freeze in midair. In that moment of pure terror and defiant will, Williams felt the world bend to his unspoken command. He could change things, not just physically, but fundamentally. Origin, the Nexus breach, occurred when a dimensional rift, accidentally opened by a rogue scientific experiment miles away, aligned perfectly with Williams' desperate psychic burst. This infused him with fragments of a cosmic forge, allowing him to perceive and manipulate the underlying code of existence. Powers and drawbacks. Reality warping. Williams can alter physical reality, from transmuting elements to restructuring landscapes. Drawback. Each significant alteration causes intense mental strain and temporal disorientation. Overuse can make him temporarily lose track of his own identity or place in the timeline. Probability manipulation. He can subtly or overtly shift the likelihood of events. Drawback. Constant awareness of all possible outcomes is overwhelming. He often suffers from decision paralysis or accidental collateral bad luck for bystanders. Power mimicry absorption. By touch, he can temporarily replicate or drain the energy powers of others. Drawback. The copied powers come with the original user's psychological echoes, sometimes manifesting as personality shifts or conflicting internal voices. Concept manipulation. The most potent of his abilities, allowing him to erase or redefine abstract ideas, e.g., friction, fear. Drawback. Affecting fundamental concepts risks unraveling the very fabric of reality he exists within. Each use creates subtle, unpredictable ripples that might manifest as minor paradoxes or cosmic glitches weeks later. The come-up. Williams initially used his powers to protect his community, subtly shifting probabilities to prevent crimes, manifesting resources, and making lives better. But he soon realized true change required more. He established the Foundation, a seemingly philanthropic organization that was, in fact, a covert network of empowered individuals he'd inspired, or subtly influenced through his abilities. They gathered technology, studied the metaphysical, and built a sanctuary, not an army, but a formidable network operating just beneath the world's notice. He aimed to build a better world, one concept at a time. Mendez, the cosmic conduit, white Puerto Rican. Mendez grew up in the vibrant, close-knit community of Loiza, Puerto Rico, immersed in rich cultural traditions and a deep connection to the land and sea. He was a fisherman like his father, strong and resilient, with an innate respect for the powerful, unpredictable forces of nature. His transformation began during a terrifying deep-sea expedition. A powerful, ethereal energy storm, unnoticed by weather satellites, enveloped his small boat. Instead of destroying him, it changed him. He awoke days later, washed ashore, feeling different. The ocean seemed to whisper secrets, and his body felt like a vessel for something vast and ancient. Origin, the deep-sea energy storm was, in fact, a nascent cosmic entity, a being of pure energy traversing the dimensions. Mendez, with his pure spirit and unbreakable will, became a symbiotic host, gaining unimaginable cosmic might. Powers and drawbacks. Deadpool's healing factor. Mendez can regenerate from virtually any injury, including complete dismemberment. Drawback: the healing is incredibly painful, and severe injuries can temporarily overwhelm his senses, leaving him disoriented and vulnerable. Also, the cosmic energy fueling it means his cells are constantly in flux, making him impossible to truly age, but also preventing deep, lasting connections. Mimicry, physical energetic. He can replicate the physical attributes or energy signatures of anyone he touches or is close to, adapting his own body. Drawback: sustaining a mimic power drains his cosmic energy, making him briefly weaker. Prolonged mimicry can lead to physical discomfort as his body struggles to return to its original state. Cosmic abilities: manifests as energy blasts, shields, limited flight, and rudimentary spatial manipulation. Drawback: overuse causes the cosmic entity within him to exert more control, threatening to subsume his personality. His eyes glow and his voice deepens, becoming less human. Molecular manipulation: the ability to rearrange matter at a molecular level. Drawback: requires extreme concentration. The larger the object or the more complex the alteration, the more energy it demands and the more prone he is to cosmic backlash, manifesting as uncontrolled energy surges. The come-up: Mendes returned to Loiza a changed man. Initially, he used his powers to protect his island from hurricanes, tsunamis, and outside exploitation. He became a legend, El Guardián Cósmico. He didn't seek an army, he was the army. His presence alone deterred threats. He walked a path of direct action, believing that cosmic power demanded immediate, tangible results, not subtle manipulation. He occasionally formed alliances with other superpowered individuals, but his primary loyalty remained to his home and the cosmic entity within, which constantly urged him to expand his reach. Scott, the glitch in the machine, African American. Scott grew up in Compton, California, navigating a world that often felt absurd and contradictory. He had a quick wit, an infectious laugh, and an uncanny ability to turn any negative situation into a joke. His powers didn't erupt, they simply were. One day, as a teenager, he found himself floating above his house, then accidentally phased through a wall, leaving a cartoon-shaped hole. He quickly realized the world was just bendable to him. It was all a grand cosmic joke, and he was the punchline and the comedian. Origin: Scott isn't from this reality. He is an anomaly, a being who fell through the cracks of the multiverse. Landing in this dimension fully formed with powers that defy traditional physics. He perceives existence as a mutable narrative, a story he can illustrate and edit. Powers and drawbacks: omnipotence, limited by self-perception. He can do anything he genuinely believes he can do. Drawback: his power is tied to his belief system and mood. If he doubts himself or finds a situation genuinely not funny, his power can briefly waver, making him temporarily vulnerable. Unimaginable toon force: breaks the laws of physics with cartoon logic, e.g., pulling objects from hammer space, surviving impossible falls, flattening and reinflating. Drawback: it is uncontrollable when his emotions spike. Intense anger or sadness can make his toon force chaotic, accidentally affecting himself or allies. Omniclone manipulation: creates infinite, functionally omnipotent clones of himself. Drawback: each clone draws a minuscule amount of his primary consciousness. Too many clones can lead to fractured thought processes, resulting in sillier, less focused versions of himself. Omnimimicry adaptive: can mimic any power, ability, or even concept instantly and perfectly. Drawback: the copied power sometimes takes on a toon, aesthetic, or limitation, e.g., if he copies a fire blast, it might come out as a stream of chili. The come-up: Scott never built an army because he is an army, infinitely cloning himself, always laughing. He became a global urban legend, appearing in different cities, solving problems with chaotic humor, and then vanishing. He was a force of pure, unpredictable id, a walking disruption to the mundane. He saw the world suffering and responded with impossible solutions, turning serious situations into slapstick comedy that still, somehow, got the job done. He didn't seek control. He sought entertainment and justice, often intertwined. Part 2: The Coming Storm. The spark of conflict ignites when Williams, through his probability manipulation, foresees a coming cosmic event, a great silence that threatens to unravel the concepts of existence itself. He believes he needs a specific cosmic artifact, the Chronal Heart, which Mendes recently recovered from a deep-sea trench. Mendes refuses, sensing Williams' intent to control, not preserve. Scott, meanwhile, catches wind of the great silence and sees it as the ultimate cosmic punchline, a chance to truly break the fourth wall of reality. He decides to intervene, not to stop the fight, but to make it interesting. Part 3: The Clash of Eras. The three converge on an ancient, desolate plain in Patagonia, a place where dimensional energies are thin. Scene 1: The opening salvo, a dance of concepts and chaos. The wind howls. Williams stands calm, emanating an aura of focused will. Mendes hovers, crackling with cosmic energy. Scott appears, not walking but simply being there, leaning on an invisible lamppost, juggling miniature black holes. Williams, voice calm but firm, Mendes the Chronal Heart. The great silence approaches. My calculations, my understanding of causality dictates its use. Mendes, eyes glowing blue, your understanding is control. This power belongs to no man, not even one who thinks he can write the script of the universe. It belongs to the cosmos. Scott, snapping his fingers, making the black holes vanish with a pop. Ooh, cosmic drama, but causality and cosmos sound like really boring concepts. Can we get to the exploding bits, please? The audience is waiting. Williams, annoyed, uses concept manipulation to attempt to delete the concept of humor from Scott. Williams, then you will cease to be an unpredictable variable. Image description. Scott, mid-grin, his face suddenly goes blank, devoid of emotion, and his body stiffens slightly, as if a puppet string has been cut. Williams stands tall, a ripple of energy emanating from his hand. But Scott, with omnipotence rooted in his self-perception, fights back. His eyes briefly flicker, then snap back to mischievous life. He doesn't laugh, but a giant, glowing red, error 404, concept not found, bubble appears above Williams' head. Scott, with a mischievous glint, nice try, Williams, but my sense of humor is actually a multiversal constant. You can't delete what always was. He then winks, and a gigantic cartoon pie flies out of nowhere, splattering Williams squarely in the face. Drawback manifestation. Williams. The conceptual pushback from Scott causes Williams to momentarily lose grasp of his own reality. He blinks, muttering, "Who? Where am I?" His powers flicker erratically. Mendes, seeing his opportunity, unleashes a torrent of dark matter energy, a swirling vortex aimed directly at Scott. Image description. Mendes, bathed in ethereal blue cosmic energy, unleashes a colossal, swirling vortex of deep purple and black dark matter towards a surprised Scott. Williams stands slightly disoriented, pie residue on his face, momentarily out of focus in the background. Scott, recovering, uses omniclone manipulation. 100 identical Scotts appear, all with cartoonish fear, scattering in exaggerated ways, creating diversions. The dark matter tears through dozens of clones. Scott, clone 1, he's trying to make me take things seriously. Scott, clone 2, run you fools, run. Drawback manifestation. Mendes. Sustaining the dark matter vortex and battling the clones drains Mendes. His body begins to glow too brightly, the cosmic entity threatening to assert dominance. His voice deepens to an inhuman growl. Scene 2. The script unravels. Williams, regaining his focus, realizes direct assault is futile against Scott's chaotic nature. He needs to control the narrative. He uses probability manipulation to make the chance of Scott's clones successfully evading Mendez's next attack 0%. Image description. All 100 Scott clones suddenly trip over invisible objects, slipping on banana peels or comically colliding with each other, forming a single, giant, comical heap just as Mendez's cosmic energy wave slams into them, causing a massive, sparkling explosion. The clones detonate in a shower of glitter and cartoon stars. Scott is temporarily stunned, the sheer improbability of his clones being that unlucky, causing a brief glitch in his toon force. Williams then uses power mimicry absorption on the stunned Scott, not to steal his power directly, but to gain insight into his fundamental omnipotence code. He briefly touches Scott's shoulder. Williams, eyes blazing with newfound understanding. You are not omnipotent because you are power, Scott. You are omnipotent because you believe you are. A story you tell yourself. Drawback manifestation, Williams. The sheer volume of Scott's fractured consciousness floods Williams' mind. He hears a million jokes, feels a million absurd emotions, and laughs hysterically for a moment, almost losing his grasp. Mendez, seeing Williams falter but also gaining an advantage, presses his attack. He uses molecular manipulation to turn the very air around Scott into solidified pure cosmic energy, attempting to encase him. Image description. Scott, now somewhat dazed from Williams' touch, finds himself rapidly encased in shimmering, translucent blue cosmic crystal that solidifies around him, trapping him in a powerful molecular prison. Scott muffled from within the crystal, "Hey, no fair, that's too serious, it's not funny anymore." Scene 3, the fourth wall break in the cost. Scott, enraged by the lack of humor and his own temporary entrapment, lashes out with raw, unbridled omnipotence. He doesn't try to break the crystal, he rewrites the rules. Scott, voice echoing from all directions, no longer comedic. "This isn't your story, this isn't your universe, this is mine." He uses omnimimicry to copy Williams' reality warping, but with an omnipotent twist. He doesn't just warp reality, he warps the medium of reality itself. Image description. The comic panel border around Mendez and Williams begins to distort, ripple, and tear. Scott, still encased in crystal, points a glowing finger, and the ink of the page starts to run, threatening to erase them from the narrative. Williams, recognizing the threat to existence itself, has a moment of terrifying clarity. He is the architect. He understands the fundamental concepts. He sees Scott about to delete the page. Williams, eyes wide, filled with a grim determination. No, not this reality, not this story. He unleashes his ultimate, most dangerous ability, concept manipulation. He targets Scott not to erase him but to redefine his very nature. Williams, I redefine the concept of omnipotence as that which must self-regulate for the preservation of narrative consistency. Image description. A blinding flash of pure white energy erupts from Williams, enveloping Scott. Scott's form distorts, flickers like a film reel, and then begins to solidify, his powers dimming, now bound by the very rules Williams has woven into his being. Mendez watches, horrified. Drawback manifestation, Williams. The cosmic backlash is immense. Williams screams, clutching his head. He feels his own mind fragmenting, memories scattering like dust. His skin cracks, ethereal energy bleeding from the fissures. The reality around him momentarily dissolves into a chaotic mess of raw data. Scott's powers instantly diminish. He is still incredibly powerful, still has toon force, but he is no longer limitless. He is now bound by a universal story logic that prevents ultimate self-destruction. The crystal prison shatters, but Scott finds he can't just wish the entire plane away anymore. He looks at his hands, confused. Scott, hey, my omnipotence. It's got a narrative speed limit now. This isn't fun. Mendes, seeing Scott's vulnerability, sees his chance. He activates mimicry to absorb the remaining cosmic energy from the weakened Scott, boosting his own cosmic abilities. He intends to finish the job. Mendes, roaring, a being of pure cosmic fury. Your chaos ends now. The universe demands order. Image description. Mendes, now radiating an even more intense cosmic aura, lunges at the still disoriented Scott, his hands crackling with destructive energy, ready to strike a definitive blow. Williams is collapsing in the background, overwhelmed by his power's cost. But Scott, though diminished, still has Toon Force and Omniclone manipulation. And crucially, he still has Omnimimicry. He mimics Mendes's Deadpool healing factor just as Mendes's attack lands, and then mimics Williams' concept manipulation. Scott groaning in cartoonish pain, then grinning, ouch, but you forgot. I can copy anything and I can still redefine. Scott, with his last burst of power and newly mimicked concept manipulation, targets Mendes's cosmic entity directly. Scott, I redefine the concept of cosmic entity as that which must return to its point of origin for mandatory maintenance. A giant cosmic vacuum cleaner appears from nowhere, sucking Mendes into a swirling vortex of starlight. Mendes screams as the cosmic entity is forcibly extracted, pulling him with it back to its deep space maintenance bay. Image description. Mendes, eyes wide in horror, is pulled feet first into a swirling, star-filled cosmic vortex as a gigantic, cartoonish vacuum cleaner, labeled Cosmic Maintenance, looms above him. He extends a hand in desperation towards Williams. Drawback manifestation. Mendes. The forced extraction of the cosmic entity leaves Mendes utterly depleted, a husk of his former self. His healing factor sputters, and he's left a normal, albeit still durable human, lost somewhere in the cosmic depths. Part 4. The Aftermath and the Winner. The plane is silent. Williams lies on the ground, barely conscious, his body racked with pain and his mind a fractured mosaic of memories. He redefined omnipotence, but the cost was immense. Scott, though no longer omnipotent in the absolute sense, is still immensely powerful, still capable of Toon Force and still fully aware. He has won, but the rules of his game have changed. Scott, walking over to Williams, a genuine, untoon-like look of contemplation on his face. You actually did it. You put limits on me. That's messed up, man. Now I actually have to try. He shrugs. Guess I'm still the strongest, though, and you're kinda broken. Scott, looking down at the broken Williams, considers his options. He could finish him, but a new thought enters his now narratively consistent mind. What kind of story would that be? He uses his still potent omnimimicry to copy Williams' reality warping once more. But this time, he uses it to heal Williams' fractured mind, carefully restoring only the essential memories. Scott, all right, architect, you redefined me. Now I redefine you as a co-star. This story ain't over. Image description. Scott, no longer comically exaggerated, sits beside the severely weakened Williams. Scott's hand gently glows as he uses his mimicked power, a look of unexpected depth on his face. The desolate plain around them begins to subtly stitch itself back together, hinting at a new, uncertain future. The clear winner, Scott. Why Scott wins? Despite Williams' ingenious move to conceptually limit Scott's omnipotence, Scott's fundamental nature as a meta-being, combined with his omnimimicry and Toon Force, allowed him to adapt and ultimately triumph. 1. Meta-awareness. Scott understands he is a character in a narrative. When Williams tried to delete humor or Mendes tried to make things serious, Scott's Toon Force acted as a counter-narrative, breaking the fourth wall and forcing the story to remain on his terms. Even when limited, his ability to play with the narrative itself is unparalleled. 2. Adaptive mimicry. Scott's omnimimicry allowed him to temporarily gain Williams' crucial concept manipulation. This meant he could turn Williams' most powerful weapon against Mendez, effectively neutralizing the cosmic conduit. 3. Omnipotence's foundation. Even limited, omnipotence is still omnipotence. Williams' move was akin to putting a speed governor on a hyperdrive. It's still far beyond what others can achieve. Scott could still manipulate fundamental aspects of reality and other beings, even if he had to work within a newly defined logic. 4. No true counter for Toon Force initially. Until Williams conceptually limited him, Scott's Toon Force was a pure, chaotic anomaly. Mendez's scientific approach and Williams' conceptual attacks often fell flat because Scott simply found a way to make it funny, absurd, or nonsensical, thus negating their effects. While Williams managed to level the playing field by imposing a cosmic narrative consistency on Scott, the sheer cost almost destroyed him. Mendez, though incredibly powerful, was too direct and lacked the meta-awareness to truly compete with Scott's unpredictable nature. Scott, in the end, didn't just win the fight. He rewrote the terms of existence for his opponents, making him the undeniable victor in this reality-shattering clash.